But it feels very early here on day 15 of Pastor's Day off. Very early in the morning. Most people are still in bed, although it's only 7 o'clock. But the reason we're up and need to get underway soon is because we need to get down to Great Yarmouth in order to cross Breydon Water at about 9:45. And of course the first thing I've got to do is I've got to lower that mast, because the first obstacle is that bridge. So the work begins early, but hopefully the journey will be most rewarding. Please come and join us today, and we'll see what we can see as we go along. In the first place we come to on our journey back down the Bure is the village of Stokesby. It's in many ways a beautiful village, almost quintessentially an English village, what you would expect. Lots of nice sort of old cottages. It's got a pub there, and it's got a church. It's a very nice place, and just beyond the pub there are some 24-hour moorings, and this is a place that actually again gets quite is quite popular if you know that it's here. If you want to venture further than Acle, you can come down here. It's only about 45 minutes from Acle, and it's a jolly nice place to stay. And I'm told the pub is very nice, serves good food. For my sins, I've never been in there. I ought to, maybe on my next time up. We ought to stop here, but I believe there's also a little shop here to help you with those provisions that you need on the Broads. But a nice place to come through, certainly very picturesque place. And yeah, I think I'm going to earmark this place. I'm going to come and stop here for 24 hours the next time that we're up here. And not so far on from Stokesby we come to this is what is actually referred to by a lot of people as the Stracy Arms mooring, although actually the Stracy Arms doesn't exist anymore. It closed actually a number of years ago. In fact, it was certainly within the last 23 years, because that was the last time I had a meal there. But you do still have this. It is one of the old windmills here that has been kept open and preserved. And there's a little there's a shop there as well. This is actually a very nice mooring. They have animals there as well that you can go and have a look at, and as I say, a shop, and you can see there somewhere to fill up with water. And one of the reasons why this mooring is so popular, you can see there's a number of boats here today, is that it does cut a little bit of time off the journey going down to Yarmouth. If you want to cross Breydon and you don't want to get up so early on those early mornings, then this is not such a bad place to go. Equally, if you needed to do a late crossing over Breydon, then this is only about an hour and 3/4, I think, or an hour and a half up the Bure in order for you to stop before it gets dark. Now, actually, I've had to knock off just a few revs as we're going along, because according to the GPS, there's a danger that we are going to get to Yarmouth a lot earlier than we need to. But then that causes me to raise a little bit of a point here. You in your calculations, if you're going to cross Breydon, certainly in a hire craft, you have to be mindful that an awful lot of these boats don't have any kind of speed log. They have a rev counter usually, and usually in the boat there is some plaque or markings to say roughly about what speed the boat will be going, as dependent on the revs. But of course, what that doesn't take into consideration is the flow of water. We are heading down the river. We are hitting Yarmouth at slack water just beyond low tide, and of course that means that the water in the river is going out. We're going along with it, and so whatever speed the boat might be registering that we're going is not necessarily the speed that we're going. We could of course be going a lot faster, and so I would highly recommend, if you are wanting to get your calculations right, to have some sort of GPS, whether that's on your phone or whether that's on a handheld device like I've got here, to have something that will keep you updated about whether you need to be going a bit faster or a bit slower. Certainly in the past, when I've not been reliant on such things, I've hit Yarmouth anything up to an hour early, which is not a problem, but of course that's not slack water, and so you're certainly feeling the current going out of the Bure, and you're feeling the current against you going up into Breydon water. So I would suggest certainly having one of these, or getting hold of, and there are many apps that you can use, but you do have to take the flow of water into consideration. Well, I'm not a horsey person, but I just thought that this image, as we're not far from Yarmouth now, was just a nice one. The position of the horses, and the very familiar sight of a windmill, a water pump. Well, here we are coming through Yarmouth now. And for me, this is probably the point of what I would say you're kind of committed. There is the yacht station here on the left hand side, and of course whether you're actually going on to Breydon or not, then you can come and moor up here, and there is a yacht station here, and someone to help you out during the day. The only thing you have to be mindful of here, of course, is that we're very close now to the entrance of the Bure, and therefore very close to the sea, and of course this is very tidal. You've got fast flowing river currents of about 3 to 4 knots when it comes to the extremes, but also you've got the rise and fall of the river, which at this point can be anything up to about 6 foot. So if you are going to moor here, you've got to have very slack lines to make sure that as the tide goes down, your boat doesn't start leaning, as has happened in the past. Actually, people have come back and found that their boats are literally hanging from their mooring lines. But of course this is a manned station, and the people are here, the men are here to give you the advice that you need and help you to moor up. Well, I was aiming to hit the mouth of the Bure at slack water at 9:47, and that's exactly what we've done. Thanks to the GPS, we were able to control the speed, and we've got here at just the right time. Now this really is the point of no return. I certainly couldn't turn around here with the mast sticking out the back of the boat, but we've got the 2 bridges coming up here that mark the end of the Bure. First of all, we've got the road bridge here, which is obviously a lot newer, and then just there beyond the red bridge, that's Vauxhall Bridge, and again you see this is why one of the reasons why you have to hit this at just the right time. You can see that the air draft, the height is not particularly high, and there are an awful lot of boats on the Broads that can't even go underneath this, whatever the level of water is, but it's not much above my head as we go through. But you've got to go through on the arrows, or between the arrows, and which is what we're doing here. And there are boats coming up. I've still got right of way actually, because the tide is slowly going out. I'm going with the flow of water, and if that's you, then you've got right of way as well. And now here we're aiming to onto the open water. There we go. They've got some boats already going out there. But what we've got to do here is watch, because it's very shallow water on the right hand side, and just like that blue boat there, we've got to make our turn beyond the yellow post there, and then as we do, that's where we come up to. That's the Breydon Bridge. Now of course if you're on a higher boat, you can't turn left here. That would take you into Yarmouth, and ultimately out to sea. So this is the limit of navigation. So you can turn right, go up Breydon Water, but you cannot turn left. But it's a surprising number of hire boaters who don't know that and who get that wrong and suddenly realise when they're heading out towards the sea that they've made a mistake. Usually it's when they're coming into the Bure they miss the turning, but it's clearly marked there, and we're going to come out and make our turn now. Well, here, as you can see, we're coming up to Breydon Bridge. I'm sorry for the wind on the microphone. I hope you can still hear me. But yeah, this is Breydon Bridge. It was opened in 1985, and it's the main A47 route now as it goes between Yarmouth and Lowestoft. And here, as you can see, according to the arrows, we're required to pass under the span just to the right hand side of the bit that opens. I say opens, it does get stuck from time to time. In fact, when we came down here 2 weeks ago, we on the radio they were hurrying us through because they were just about to open it, and then we heard that it got stuck. It wasn't going anywhere. So it does have its problems. But now this is it. We're out onto Breydon Water, and we're starting our way heading up to where we will go on to the River Waveney. Plenty of boats here. Clearly we've hit it at the right time. As you go up Breydon, of course, you're required to keep within the markings. It's very simple, really. It's not a frightening thing as some people might think it is. As long as you keep to the simple rules, you keep within the markings. As you're going inland, the green is on the right, the red is on the left. Of course, if you're coming down, it's the opposite way round. But as long as you do that, you shouldn't have any problem at all. But here we are, very much onto open water, and you can see the width of Breydon. You can see the limit, really, because there's an awful lot there that we can't go on. And relatively speaking, the channel is quite narrow, but it's certainly wide enough, and there's plenty of activity. Sometimes you see people water skiing here. There's plenty of people sailing here. It's a good fun stretch of water, actually. Well, for me that was another successful crossing of Breydon, but here we come to the top of Breydon now, the North Cardinal point, where the two rivers split. The River Yar, which technically we're on already, that goes off round to the right hand side there, and you can follow that all the way up to Breydon, and then all the way on further up to Norwich. But we're going to be going to the left. That's the River Waveney, and that will take us up to St Olaves, and again from there you can go on up to places like Lowestoft or Beccles. Two very nice places. But yeah, we're off the open water now. We're coming off the open water now, and we're coming back onto the shelter of river instead. We're just being passed here by some people that we actually met at Acle last night. We gave them the warning that the high water was going to require them to lower down their fenders a bit, but we got on all right with them, and there they are. They're heading up to Alton Broad, I believe, today, but they said they were also crossing Breydon today, and it looks like they've successfully done it with no problems. So it is good. You know, this is the thing, the Broads, we've met a lot of people this week. We've made friends with people this week, people that we're going to keep in contact with. The Broads is a very good place to do that, and yeah, come along. You don't know what will happen. Now we're seeing those folk again that passed us earlier. They're mooring up, having a bit of fun in doing so. Yeah, in fact I'm going to have to probably slow down a little bit here to make Oh, maybe not. Okay, we're going on through. Now I realise that as we have been making this journey from north to south on the Broads, there's probably a lot more that I could have filmed on the way. But one thing I did notice, certainly as we were coming towards Breydon, is that the memory card on my camera was beginning to get a little bit full, and I wanted to make sure I got the vital bits in. So if I've missed out any particular site that you would have liked to have seen on the way, I do apologise. But here we are at St Olaves, and there in the distance there ahead of us is the last of the bridges that we will need to go under. After this we can find a mooring spot and we can put the mast back up again before we do anything else. But it's been a very successful crossing, a very easy crossing, and one I've enjoyed very much. So again, we're just about to pass under St Olaves Bridge, and in a moment we'll be able to put the mast back up again. Well, here we are moored at the Herring Fleet moorings, the free moorings, just up from St Olaves, and being that we don't need to go under any more bridges today, we can put the mast back up. It's again a bit of a workout, but only takes about 15 minutes or so, and then that will be up and we'll be ready to go. Now for me, I'd much rather see the mast of the boat back there in its proper position, and it is up now, and probably now that's not going to come down again for quite a long time. Now here's the thing, we've just done a successful crossing of Breydon water, and we're not far from where we moor up. And I did say at the beginning of these videos it was going to be past as 16 days off. Well, it is still going to be past as 16 days off, because I've still got a day off tomorrow. And whilst it'd be nice to spend that day on the boat, and certainly there's plenty of reason for me to want to do that, my back at least is telling me that it would rather like to be in my own bed tonight. So we are going to cut everything a day short, but we will be back out on the water very soon. In fact, we're planning to be out on the water for quite a lot of the time over the summer, either on ourselves or, as often is the case, with friends, with guests in tow as well. So if you've enjoyed watching these, they're a bit rough and ready. This is the first time I've ever done a vlog, but if you've enjoyed watching these, then please look in again, hit subscribe, hit the bell to find out when I put these on. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've seen some of the sites at least that you know of the Norfolk Broads, and if it's the first time you've ever seen them, then maybe it's whetted your appetite quite literally to come and check them out for yourselves. It really is a very lovely place to be, a very slow place, very relaxing place to be, and again, that's what this is all about. It's about taking time for yourselves, whether it's on the water or whether it's something else, taking that vital time for yourself, especially for your health, and to reduce stress levels, even to spend time with family. We need to be doing that so much more these days. But anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I hope again you've enjoyed everything, and I hope to see you again on Pastor's Day Off very soon.